Hello, good evening, and welcome to the end of the week, or as we like to say, welcome to the middle of whatever day you think it is. How are you? I hope you're well. It's Friday. It's 8:30. This is Off the Leash, and Off the Leash is Neptune's way of staying in touch with you all, of maybe having a few smiles, maybe shedding a tear or two, and certainly sharing some stories from Neptune Theatre and from our friends that work there, visit there, and enjoy, hopefully, their time with us. I hope you're doing well. News out of Nova Scotia today is that they've started gently loosening some of the restrictions here in Nova Scotia, which is fantastic. I haven't looked in detail at the list, but I will as soon as I get off this show and see what I'm allowed to do as of 8 a.m. tomorrow. I have a feeling it's not going to change much of what I'm doing, but you know what? We're moving in the right direction. Keep doing what you're doing. All right. I am very excited about tonight's show. For the last years, I don't even know how many, maybe 4, 5, 6 years, I've had a great friendship and working relationship with a photographer here in town who I think is just the bee's knees. And we're going to talk about how that relationship is developed. And we're going to look at a bunch of photos, and we're going to reminisce about shows inside Neptune and outside Neptune. If you have been to any major event in Halifax in the past 5 or 6 years, we'll ask how long he's been doing it in a second, exactly, then you have run into Stoo Metz, or you've been photographed by Stoo Metz, or you've seen him, or he's been stood in front of you at a concert with his lens up. I don't know. If you are watching and you want to tell your stories about Stoo, tonight's the chance. Let's ask him any questions he has. Let's find out what he likes and dislikes. Let's bring him into the studio right now. Ladies and gentlemen, our photographer, Stoo Metz. Hello.
Hello, Jeremy. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
You know, the best that everyone can do in the situation like this.
Yeah.
You know, just been chilling with my cat, who you can see sleeping on the bed behind me there. And trying to be as creative as I can while, adhering to the quarantine rules and such.
Absolutely. Now, I know because I follow you on social media, but you and your cat are there by yourselves, right?
Yeah, in this tiny little bachelor apartment in North End Halifax, my tiny, tiny home that I've lived in for the past 10 years and love dearly.
Now, I've been going a little stir crazy. We've got a house, but there are 4 of us in it, including 2 rambunctious, glorious, beautiful children who are now they've just gone to bed a few minutes ago. Shh, let's keep it quiet, everyone. Let's not jinx this. But I long on occasion. I've actually looked at some of your posts about, being there, and I'm like, I wish I was just there by myself. And I know, but I think it's all the grass is always greener. How are you coping with you? What is your cat's name? Isn't it Jean?
Yeah, it's Kitan Jean-Luc Picard.
I love it. I love it. Those people that know me know I'm a bit of a sci-fi geek, as are you, I think. And
big time. Big time.
Yeah. And so, all right, look, I tell you what I want to do. I want to go back. I want to show you a photo right now. And I want you to tell me what this conjures up for you. Okay. So we're going to go through the life of Stoo Metz. No, we're not really going to do that, but we're going to start off at the beginning. So what's happening here?
Oh,
look at that. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, so 2 things about this photo here. One, obviously, photography's been a part of my life since I was an actual baby, and would prefer to hold a camera rather than holding baby toys.
Yeah.
And the other is now everyone understands why my hat size is the largest hat size that you can make a hat.
That is a pretty impressive cranium you've got. I mean, look at the, yeah, I hadn't noticed that when I looked at that earlier, but now you've said it, I'll only ever see.
I mean, like
that baby's hair.
My dad's watching right now, and if he could share photos right now, he would share photos of the fact that I wore a hockey helmet a lot as a child because I just had a big head.
You know what? I do too, actually. I've got the wardrobe folks at Neptune are always saying I've got a gigantic head, and I kind of believe it. I think from a personality point of view and physically. So obviously you picked up a camera as a baby. I don't know whether that was a fluke shot or whether you really were taking pictures. When did you actually? What was the impetus to start taking photos? Was there someone else in your family that was into it, and then you sort of followed suit?
So my father, Bob Metz in St. John, New Brunswick, there is a photographer, and he was doing wedding photography. You know, I think before I was born, and I'm the oldest of the family, and so we would constantly always be surrounded by photography. We had a photo darkroom in the basement, so you know, developing photos. And my very first photo shoot ever was when I was 5 years old. And I had gone on a nature hike with my father, and he had shown me how to use a camera. And we're talking film camera. This isn't digital, like this is film camera. And I still actually have the camera. It's actually up on my dresser here, covered in dust. Yeah, we, you know, going on hikes, going on canoe trips, you know, my dad was very outdoorsy, and that was just a normal part of my upbringing. And, you know, going and taking photos while we were on a hike, and then going home, and then going into the basement of the photo darkroom, and like developing the photos and printing the photos, and then putting them up in the house was just a normal part of my childhood. Yeah. And you know, like my whole childhood, right from being a kid right up into high school.
So was your father doing it professionally, or was it a hobby? So did you see it as a hobby or something that could be done for cash?
Well, so my father worked for the Evening Times Globe back in the day, or as it's known now, the Telegraph Journal. Right. In New Brunswick there. So he was always surrounded by photography growing up, and then into his career. And so whenever I was a kid, you know, I just kind of wanted to emulate my dad so much and be just like him. And so photography, I just got this, you know, oomph that I had to be like my dad. So,
and I guess jumping forward a little bit, but how does he feel about now seeing that his son has this? Well, not right now because we're all suffering, and I know you've taken a huge hit. We'll talk about that later. But there's this. You've got a business. You're in demand. I know that you work every freaking hour, going from gig to. Sometimes you're going from gig to gig to gig to gig, editing all night, sleeping for 4 hours, getting up and going to a gig. That must be kind of. I mean, he must be. I'm assuming he's proud.
Super proud. Yeah, my dad couldn't be more proud of what I've accomplished, and he's, you know, he doesn't have social media or anything like that, but I gave him the web link so that he can go to my photo Instagram, right, and see when I upload photos and things like that. But yeah, he's always sending me emails and just talking about how, you know, proud he is that I kind of you know, jumped into the deep end feet first, and gave this life as a photographer a go.
People are commenting already. So they are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, here's a lovely one. Oh, my photo shoot for Peter Pan was one of the greatest and most emotional moments in my entire career to date. So happy to see them here. So much love. Yeah.
Thank you, Avery. I love you.
Ghost.
Oh, Colleen. Oh my goodness.
It's like
I'm going to start crying.
Well, don't, because people know that if anyone starts crying or if there's anything emotional, I go. So just be careful. We don't need to see the AD of Neptune crying tonight. Not tonight. No. This is wonderful. So I like I said at the beginning, if you have been to an event
Oh,
some point over the last few years, the chances are that, oh, there we are, so we can just lean out. Look at that. We can selfie with you. Chances are, now, is that the Pride?
Yeah, so that's Pride. I'm actually standing on the final float in the parade, which is the it's always the men's bar float. God rest them.
Oh,
yeah, they've always been so gracious for, since 2014 to always kind of leave just a little bit of room at the back of the float so that after I'm done photographing the entire parade, then I just kind of, pass my camera up and then climb aboard and, turn around and just start taking those beautiful shots of that giant crowd.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a thing, hasn't it? Every year now, that shot, I remember the first time it appeared, and we saw this wave, this ocean of beautiful, glorious faces spread right. Well, we can see them there. And to be honest, I really apologize to every single person that has taken a photo of you that we're about to show. I don't have the credits. I can't. There's no way to attach the credits to the photo.
Oh.
A blanket apology to all photographers that may see this. You are loved and appreciated. Maybe I'll try and post a list in the comments section a little bit later. But thank you. So somebody took this photo of you. Is that may be just before, or just after you took the amazing shot that we now come to expect of you at this moment during Pride. But the first time it appeared, it was a gigantic thing. It was a really big deal, and a little unknown tidbit to the very first photo that I took, which was back in 2014, was actually I was not the official photographer for Halifax Pride yet. I was actually just on the men's bar float, just enjoying the, being on the float and being in the parade. Yeah.
And, and I'm just, dancing to the music that they have on the float, and we're, kind of going up Spring Garden Road there. And I was not looking behind us. I was looking ahead because we were the final float in the parade. And then I just, kind of took a breath, and then I just kind of turned and looked, and my jaw just dropped. Because, it's just the most beautiful sight. And I reached down, and here's the tidbit. I reached down and picked up my cell phone and took that picture. So the picture that I am known for across Canada and across Nova Scotia, I actually took with a cell phone and not a camera.
I get it. And you know what? It's great. It proves that, the phones work. They can take a photo, but I obviously having the equipment. Look, this is what it's like being. This is all I've ever seen of you. This is the first night tonight that I've ever seen the rest of your face. I've only ever seen this. I actually thought you were like the Phantom of the Opera. It was a camera. This is one of my favorite. Oh yeah.
Oh yes, Samson Learn, I love you.
Yeah. So I think most people will have seen you and not know who you are. Now, I think gradually.
That's me and the Mirror Image Media twins, Megan and Marie Wright. The photo was taken by Mo Fung. Mo Fung, I love you too.
Those two did some work for Neptune as well. They shot the promo video for the Argyle Street Kitchen Party, which you also shot.
In my opinion, Megan and Marie, the Mirror Image Media twins, are the best videographers in all of Nova Scotia.
They're great.
In my opinion.
They're great and very cool. And weren't they on the Amazing Race Canada?
Yeah, Amazing Race Canada, totally, yeah.
I don't watch that show, but I kind of think maybe I should try and find some clips. I'm assuming they made it. So they survived it.
Yes.
Good. And every now and again, you get to meet someone. I know you've shot probably hundreds of shows with people, but here's a photo of you,
yes,
newscaster.
People, everybody has their celebrities and kind of famous people that they love getting to meet. And I love the fact that when I work, because this is corporate me, this is Stoo Metz when he's in a corporate atmosphere doing corporate photography. Yeah, right there. Yeah. And so getting to meet Peter Mansbridge, I'm sorry, celebrities for me are Canadian, icons, even in the news world. It's amazing to get to meet them, and Peter was so gracious and so nice and was telling stories, and it was just a really cool moment to get to meet him.
Yeah, a few years ago, well, God, you know what? More than a few years ago now. In a short period of time, I got to meet a whole bunch of CBC radio personalities. And
nice.
A lot of actors, obviously, and I work, and actors are, we're just the same as everyone else in my, obviously, like everyone is, and so are the news people. But it was really strange. I met Sheila Rogers, Ian Hannah-Mansing.
Wow.
And the name of the global anchor for the longest time has just slipped off of my, out of my mind. But I met these people in a short period of time, and I got kind of starstruck by their coolness and their ability to just keep calm, and they were so sweet. So I understand. Yeah. I understand your. So okay. So then let's see you, Peter. Thanks a lot. Okay. So back to the studio. A few years ago, and I don't know the year, you were shooting a show with our dear friend Candy Palmer called The Candy Show.
2013.
Is that 2013? Is that how long
2013, ago? Yeah. I remember it because I'm a burlesque performer who's currently on hiatus, and we were doing a show at Men's Bar. And during the intermission, I'm standing there in the most sparkliest, most beautiful underwear and covered in glitter. And Candy Palmer's lovely wife, Denise, came up to me and said, Candy would like to talk to you. And I went up to Candy and she asked me, she said, listen, I'd really like for you to be my behind the scenes photographer on my national television show. And you have to understand that, I'm only 3 years into kind of semi-pro. I'm not really full pro yet. And to be asked to be a behind the scenes photographer on a film set for a national television show is such a big deal. And I loved it. And lo and behold, during that season 3, Shakespeare on Trial was a guest on that on a particular episode, and that's where I met the iconic Jeremy Webb.
Never heard of him, but Simon Henderson, who was in that play with me, was very nice. We came in Candy. Actually, same thing for us. Actually, I was like, we were just doing this show, touring to schools, hundreds and hundreds of schools for years with this show about Shakespeare. And Candy said, can you come and do a bit of your show on our show? And I was like, yeah, I've never even thought about doing something like that. So we actually did theater on a TV show, and you were there to capture it. So there we are on a TV, really cool set, trying to replicate our school touring show. There's me being all theatrical and.
Oh, come on. You've got to show the picture of you looking glamorous.
I'm not going to show it. And I'll tell you later why I don't show that picture.
Okay, copy.
Actually, not because I don't love the pictures, but I've moved on, and I'll explain later why. But you also took some.
Yes.
Look at that. Oh, that's easily. That's 20 pounds ago. and Simon Henderson, little mini. Anyway, so I suddenly became aware of you, and you kept popping up. Here you are when the whole film industry went.
2015.
Yeah, and we went to Province House, and we paraded around there. There were thousands of people there that day when the premiere decided that the film tax credit was pointless. And
I was there on behalf of Actra Magazine, and I actually made a press pass, and it wasn't official in any way, but I made an Actra Magazine press pass because I wanted to show them that I was there for a serious reason, and I wasn't just some photographer without any sort of credentials or anything. And I made the press pass, and then I took a picture of it and I sent it to Actra Magazine, and I said, listen, is it okay if I have this? And they were a little maybe not. But then at the end, they were like, no, you know what? No, wear it, go, do your thing. And then I went out and shot all the photos, and they were super happy. But I still have the press pass.
You've never told me that story. If you had, I would tell you this story. Years ago, as you may know, I was a photographer for, I had a column, an entertainment column, first for the Daily News when it existed, and then for the Chronicle Herald. It still exists, but in a different format now, really. But I would be an entertainment photographer. So I would write columns about what's going on. I would go to parties and events, and I would take photos with my slightly lesser impressive camera than yours. And I would have to get into events quickly and without invitation sometimes. So I did exactly the same thing that you did. I got on my computer. I made a press pass. I even went as far as taking a photo of a barcode, and that had
no way,
probably for a loaf of bread or something, and I stuck it on there, and I stuck the word media or press, and I put my photo on there, and I photoshopped it all to make it look really official, and then I had it laminated at Staples on Spring Garden Road, and I wore it on a lanyard. Got me in everywhere.
Nice.
Don't do it, kids. Don't do it.
No, don't do that. That's bad.
It's a really bad idea. No, it's terrible. Anyway, I did the same thing. So and so then actually, yeah, you also ended up taking this photo.
Yes.
These photos. We're not just going to look at photos of me. I promise. This is nearly it. But this little set of photos you took in 2015, I think, roughly.
I think 2015. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I still, I think I'm wearing a wig there. No, I'm not. I've certainly had makeup done on my eyebrows. I got teased about that a little. But my hair is certainly a lot lighter. But then, we went through a little period. We're nearly done with the Jeremy section. You and I, whenever we meet at an event.
I think we ended up at a lot of events together, you and I.
Yeah. But the thing is, I know that you've been cheating on me because you publish on social media where you actually take selfies with everyone. I thought I was special. But you do take them with everyone, and you always do the same face.
Yes, sir.
How do I look?
It's called someone else named it. It's actually called Muppet face.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Because you think of a Muppet. I mean, I'm okay with saying that I've got a little extra underneath the chin there, and so whenever I'm about to be in a picture, I do I just look super surprised and do the in every photo, and people was like, wow, you just always look so happy to be in those photos. And I am, but at the same time I'm doing this so I don't get the bullfrog.
We have the same shaped head, I think, and I actually grew this many years ago to try and kid myself in that I could shield what's dangling under there. Anyway, I don't doesn't work. So then we get into theater work, and this isn't chronological, but certainly let's talk about Neptune first. Neptune is we've had a number of amazing photographers over the years, and you're the latest. We also have photographers that still work at Neptune and do amazing work in different fields. Timothy Richard, for example, he does some amazing work.
Tim is literally the best at doing a photo booth. Literally the best. The photos turn out so awesome. Yeah.
I hope he's watching this, or I hope he guesses this. Timothy Richard, he knows this. He scares the bejesus out of me. He shouts at me. He's the only person. That's not true. Leslie McDonald has also shouted at me. The only person in the theater that I am the AD of who shouts at me to get me to do something. And he's like, stand up, put your chin down, to the left. And he comes and grabs my face and puts it where he wants it. And he says, that's your angle. That's it, don't move. And then he takes one of those, the booth shots. And that's only to get a little post-show booth shot.
Oh, and they're like fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I can't even come close to what Tim does with the photo booths. Like, he's elite level status at doing those.
He's great. But and then so now let's look at a few photos. Yeah, that's Between Breaths. That was very recently.
I love this photo simply because, like, when I work really hard, because whenever I'm shooting for you folks, the number one goal that I have is to try and make a photo that makes folks look at the photo and go, geez, what's going on here? Like, this is such an epic photo. What's the story here? What's going on? Why is this blue orb above his head? Like, what is this? And then all I want them to do is to hear is to be like, I need to know what this is, and go buy a ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see that that's what you're doing. So, and then we got that's Cinderella. Of course.
I got a tiny little story about this one. See, I'm grateful to you because you always, you're very trusting of me, and I respect you so much when you give me your trust, because you know, on media call day, we only have a specific amount of time for the actors, the crew, everybody. You know, their time is extremely valuable.
Yeah.
And that photo there, that moment, correct me if I'm wrong, actually does not happen in Cinderella.
No.
And I just saw this moment to kind of create a kind of Disney moment where the prince meets Cinderella for the very first time, and Samantha and Ryan were so super nice. And I was just like, can you just go up there and just pose this and do this? And I just ran back to the edge of the stage and just click, 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 click. And then it was like good and done. We had the photo over and done in like 30 seconds.
I'm the AD now. I used to be the publicist for Neptune years ago. And so I know that at a media call, the media call is so important. And to have you there getting good shots is vital. And so I always make sure, if I'm directing the show anyway and I'm in the room, I make sure that we always overrun with media calls, certainly if I'm there, because I want to make sure I squeeze every single shot out of your camera. And Gabrielle, who I know is watching, and
Gabrielle, I love you, Gabrielle.
The marketing team at Neptune are great, and they kind of sit back and watch me run around like a crazy thing, because I want to make sure you get the shots so that then they can manipulate them into the amazing work that they do. And we're going to get to that in a minute.
Yes.
So here's one. This isn't chronological, and this is actually not officially a Neptune show, but it was on the Neptune stage. And this is one of my favorite.
Yes. So this photo here, actually, this was the very first Neptune show that I photographed on the Fountain Hall stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I'd already met you by then, and so I was producing this show and renting Neptune, so that's why that was getting you into the building. That's a great shot. You took some amazing shots of that show. It's a musical compilation show. And then of course, Mamma Mia.
It was extremely difficult to not take a bad photo during Mamma Mia. Like, look at them. They're just. Everyone there is just feeling the moment and having so much fun. No wonder that show went like extended for so many times there, because it's just so, that was, you know, just so well done, and everyone was just loving it. And
well, the design team on that show did an amazing job with the costumes, the lighting, and the sets and everything. So the photos, you can't see it there because the photo is cropped a little, but the photo is these photos are all over Neptune's social media, and you can see the credits for all of the work that the craftspeople at Neptune are doing for these.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love this photo. So this photo here is a callback to, like, you remember those like Star Wars posters from back in the day that look like a painting and all that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to emulate here. This is your theater school students. And this is called, I think this was She Kills Monsters.
Right.
And I took the heroine and put them right in the middle. And I said, here, hold this sword just up super grandly. And then I said, everybody else that has a sword, and if you don't have a sword, like, just kind of play off of them. And then I said, on the count of 3, I want everybody to, scream at the top of your lungs. And they all did it. And it just came out in this awesome shot where everyone just and it kind of does what I want when I shoot for Neptune, which is it tells a story enough that it gets those hooks into you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I gotta know what the story is here. And they go buy a ticket.
So, and thank you, because we really thank you. My children, thank you. I'm actually naming, no, I'm not having another child. But if I was having another child, I can't, but if I was, it'd be named Stoo. So I said, there we go. Whatever. So you get to see Neptune. Well, you get to see a lot of shows before anyone else, and sometimes before they're quite ready. So you get to see, what's that like? Coming to the maybe sometimes the first dress rehearsal on the Sunday evening before the day off, before the preview on the Tuesday. So a couple of days before anybody else.
You have no idea how much of a friggin' honor it is. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I really do mean it. It's such a friggin' honor, because it's not lost on me that, there is not just days, not just weeks, not just months, in some cases, not just years, or even a year, work and planning and time and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and refining that goes into to make one of your amazing shows. And then to have the honor of being the very first person that is not a part of the team that is creating the show to come in and see the show for the very first time, start to finish, through the lens of my camera it's, you know, as cheesy as it sounds, it really is an honor.
Well, I like cheese. People know that about me. But no, I understand. And it's got to the point now, because you've seen so many shows, not just Neptune shows, but so many of our colleagues, and we're going to look at some of their photos in a second, around the province have got you in to shoot theater shows for them. It's your thing. It's one of your things. But I actually now watch the back of your head. I'm watching the play and I'm making notes about what the actors are doing. But because you're generally the first person that's seen it fresh, I look at you, and if you're chuckling, or if you wipe away a tear, or if you, the best thing is when Stoo Metz puts his camera down and starts watching the play and isn't taking the frickin' photos we're paying him for.
It's happened.
But he's watching, I know, and he's watching the play, and it's kind of, it's a bit of a catch-22, because I'm like, I want to go and poke you in the back of the head and say, take a photo, we're paying you. But also at the same time, I'm like, no, let's see how involved he gets. So it's pretty cool. So now I use you
Noises off is a good example of that. I'm sorry, but like I've been to a lot of amazing productions. Noises Off was the very first time in, there we go. Noises Off was the very first time that I was photographing a production, and what was happening on the stage was just so absolutely elite level ridiculous that I lost it, and I had to put the camera down because I was about to fall over laughing.
That's
like
I get it. That's Christian Murray. He's in the middle of a fall down that staircase. He gets to the bottom, and then he launches himself onto the rug, which is just out of the shot. And you captured this moment, and it really looks like he's not actually 6 feet in the air, but it looks like he's flying. It's a pretty I love that shot. And that shot will stay with him for the rest of his life. I am determined. I had just jumped ahead for that one because I really wanted to show that, because you mentioned you've also, I mean, not only do you get great action shots, I think you've got an amazing eye for composition and light and structure. And when I see a shot like this for the bridge.
So cool story about this. When I'm doing, sometimes when I'm doing theater production photography, I do what I've dubbed, which is immersion photography. And what that means is I am actually physically on the stage within the production. I'm not just like off to the side. I'm physically in the production. And what happened here was Tubi Theater, Anthony Black, came up to me and said, you know, Stu, you could shoot it from where you normally shoot it, but in order to get really to kind of capture the emotion and the feeling, we're going to need you to do that kind of immersion photography that you do. I've made all the actors aware that you're going to be basically a bogey in their space, and I live while the production is going through their dress rehearsal within the production.
Right.
And when I tell you that my head has to constantly be on a swivel so I'm not in the way of anybody, like camera up like this, click, 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 check, 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 click, 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 check, check, check. You know, I luckily found a spot on their set that I could stand and not be in anybody's way when they were changing scenes.
You know what? The next time we do a big show like this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, get up on stage with them, and I'm going to watch you dodge 30 dances.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I could do that with one of your shows.
I might be. I don't know. So there we have the Pirates.
Oh man. So Peter Pan, I have to give it to your Captain Hook, Kelly Holliff.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely made my day when I was doing the dress rehearsal shot, because when she did the opening tune with the big fan, and I can't remember the name of the song. It's
a Celine Dion song, yeah.
Yes. she broke the fourth wall because I was the only person other than the crew that was in the audience, and she broke the fourth wall because she's singing into a physical microphone, and was acknowledging me and was saying like, "Hey Stu, you know, make sure you get my good side," and like still playing your character, but also at the same time breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, exactly.
Shelley Holliff did that.
Yeah,
she's such a subdued, sensible, well-behaved actor. You know what?
Totally.
This is exactly
there it is. Look at that. There it is, 100%. That's it right there.
Her first time doing the show with someone other than me sitting there, and she found you like there was a radar. You could hear the ping, ping, ping as she found fresh meat, and then she milked it. And that number, I kid you.
Oh my goodness.
She took 2 extra minutes in that scene just because you were there. I actually dug that photo out myself because I knew that we'd talk about that. But yeah, and that's great. And so she played off you, and you played off of her. You got some amazing shots in that show.
Oh,
you know, I mean,
again, like, you know, taking another icon like Peter Pan. Like, what is the iconic shot that you think of when you think of Peter Pan? Is flying through the window. And I was just so happy that when because this was a shot during the media call. Yeah. And I was so happy when you said, "Okay, we're going to do some of the flying shots now." And in my head, I was like, "Oh yes, we're going to do the flying shots."
Let me ask you. Can I ask you an impolite technical question? And you can actually say, "I don't want to answer that." Did you digitally remove the wires?
No comment.
Okay. Only no. I mean, the flying people did such an amazing job. And they were visible though. And so when I saw this photo for the first time, I was like, wow, I can't see the wires at all. That's amazing. But for those of you that still believe in fairies, he does fly. I do believe. And then of course, we get into The Color Purple. So like, again, you're one of the first people in Canada to see the Canadian regional premiere in fact, you were the first person outside theater staff to see the Canadian regional premiere of The Color Purple. So
again, 100% not lost on me. I mean, look at how many awards this show won at the Robert Merritt Awards. Like, deserved every single one of them. Like, and to have been the very first person that was not a part of the crew that was creating the show, to get to come in and see the show for the very first time. Such an honor. Absolutely.
And Christine, I mean, we kind of think of you now as, you don't have an office in the building, but maybe we should get you one. Although I don't think you want to be there right now. You want to keep away from everyone else.
Yeah. I did for one afternoon. I can't remember what show it was, but there was a desk that, Andrew Chandler, love you too. There was in Gabrielle's office there was a desk that was free for a little while, and I just came upstairs and sat down, opened my MacBook, and just edited the photos there so I could get them to Gabrielle like right away rather than going home and sending them via Dropbox.
I think we should just get you a cot. We should get you a little corner and just have you there.
I would do it. Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about the fact that so you take the photos. And then you hand over the raw files, and you don't. I mean, I think you probably. I don't know whether you play with them a little, but you certainly get the shot to where you want it to be, and then you hand it over to Neptune's Gabrielle, who is our graphic design guru.
Gabrielle,
and she has a question for you, actually.
What was your favorite Neptune shoot, and which are you most proud of? Wow,
that's probably a really tough question.
That is a super tough question.
But while you're thinking about that, because then what happens is Gabrielle will take your photos, like this one. This was
Sean Burke dubbed this my Annie Leibovitz photo. For anyone that knows who Annie Leibovitz is.
Yes.
I actually love this photo a lot because, and this photo is a great example of that, is that when we do a poster shoot for a show, sometimes we do poster shoots months and months before the show actually opens. And so the actors when they step in front of my camera and they have to be that character in a poster, sometimes I'm seeing their very first, like the very first taste of them becoming the character. And I really loved this photo because when I got the word, okay, you're going to do the Last Wife poster, cool. The set was already finished, and so I came in and I was walking around the set and I was kind of plotting out in my head. And then they came in and said, oh, we're actually going to do the photo against the fly wall. And for those of you that are not theater folks, the fly wall is all the cables that your crew use to raise the sets and screens and all that. And so I was like, wow, okay. And, I got to make this look regal and I got to make this look, gorgeous. And it just came together. And I'm really grateful for all the crew that their names escape me at the moment that were there that day that were helping, because they were all like, no, we're going to pose them like this and it's going to look really regal. And we're going to hide some little like tidbits in here. As you can see, Stephanie's holding, I can't remember the actor's name. You can see that she's holding his hand, but also got her hand on the gentleman that plays her husband in the play.
Right.
And
but because there's little hints about the plot in the photo.
Yeah, and like Kumbi's doing so fantastically, because we said to Kumbi, like, you're longing for your father's approval, so just kind of look longingly at your father there. And anyway, so it turned out super regal looking, and I shot this photo. And whenever we do poster shoots, I kind of do like just teeny tiny little edits, but I want to send almost the raw file to Gabrielle Ginot, who is your Neptune Theatre graphic designer extraordinaire, so that Gabrielle has the most options when it comes to photographing or creating the Neptune poster. Yeah. This one, in answer to your question there, Gabrielle, I would say 100% this. For favorite poster photo shoot. Obviously iconic here in Nova Scotia, Viola Desmond, and Deborah Castorelli. Shout out to Franny, I can't remember your last name, Franny, who came in and did.
Oh, that's right.
Deborah's hair, came in super early in the morning and did, because this photo shoot was at 11:30 in the morning. She had to come in super early to get Deborah's hair into that. And I was so super happy that you folks were like, oh, and we're going to shoot it on these theater seats that we just so happen to have over here in storage.
Well, you know where those chairs came from?
Where?
Those chairs are actually from they used to be mine, and I stole them from the actor office.
No way.
Because they were going to throw them out. And I said, no, I'll take them. So I moved them up to Neptune, and they sat in the corridor outside the Eastern Front Theatre office.
No way.
Or two. And then the wardrobe ladies who are down in that corridor used them to sit and eat their lunch in. But they are old movie theater seats. I think from the Paramount. I'm probably wrong, but anyway, which used to be where the Alliant building is now on Spring Garden and Barrington, that big gigantic office block. Anyway,
so to show how Gabrielle and I, because honestly, when people are like, oh my gosh, like this poster, Stu, like it's just so great, and I'm grateful for that, but people need to realize is that I'm only actually just one half of the team that comes together to make these posters. We have you on site to art direct the actor and actresses. And we have me on site to handle the photography. And then we have Gabrielle, who, once all that part is done, takes it to the next level. And I mean, Deborah is sitting in the seats, but it's actually only this first row of seats is actually physically there in the photo shoot. And then the other seats are all graphic designed in by Gabrielle.
Yeah, I think we even had the director of the play, Nigel Thorne Williams, on the phone, giving her a little bit of direction to capture the mood of the character. And my only input for this photo was saying, I think I said to Deborah, and forgive me, Deborah, if this is incorrect, my memory, but I said, I think at this time period, you'd sit with your feet together in this kind of way. And that was it. And then I left you to it because it's got to the point now I come and check. I'm like, yeah, okay, they're in the. If it's a show that I'm directing, then I'll stick around a bit longer. But if you have the mood and you had the look and the convenience of those chairs and that costume match to create that color palette is spectacular.
Oh, geez. And again, to the point that I made earlier, like where we shoot posters and I get to see kind of like for the very first time ever, the actor, oh, awesome. Thank you. Is that I get to see the actor become the character in front of me for the very first time. And this literally was Deborah's very first time becoming Viola. And I got to see that in front of my camera. And, you know, cheesy cheese, that was quite the moment for me.
Well, that was a week or two, I think, before they'd started rehearsal. So Nigel, the director, wasn't even in town yet. They'd met at the auditions, I think. So that's amazing. So then every now and again, a special project will come up, which is so cool. So tell me what you know about this.
Oh, boy. So this was, I think, one of the very first posters that you and I shot together. This was for Saltwater Moon with Keelan Boyd and Nathan McKinnon.
Nathan Simmons.
Simmons. And I was so super proud of this, and I just thought the poster was great. And then all of a sudden one day, I just happened to, somebody was just like, "Oh, Stu, like that's so awesome, like good for you." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Oh, like your poster, it's up on the Kipping's Lantern on the National Arts Center in Ottawa." And I was like, "What?" And sure enough, I went over to Neptune's Facebook page, and there was this image, and I didn't fully grasp the gravity of it, because I was like, "Oh, that's cool that it's up on this," because I've never seen the Kipping's Lantern before. And then a friend of mine who lives in Ottawa went to the Kipping's Lantern, stood there in front of it, because the whole it was about 11 minutes long.
Yeah.
And when this poster came up, they're standing underneath of it, and I realized that this Kipping's Lantern is like 60 feet tall.
It's gigantic.
And I was absolutely blown away and so friggin' honored that you folks did this amazing thing, obviously for your purposes, but in as well, it put my work on the national stage.
The NAC have this giant glass. They call it the Lantern, as you say, and it's a giant tower in the middle of their building on the main street there, and it is huge. And I went there shortly after it was part of the display, and they decided to show a poster or poster art or an image from every theater across the country to show that they were the National Art Center. So they asked me to pick an image. And well, I say they asked me. They did ask me, and then I think we collectively. I'm not going to say I chose this one. We probably came up with a couple. But anyway, this one was the one that we chose to go. And I actually went there, and then I stood under it for the whole cycle because it scrolls through them all. And I actually, I don't know if I've ever sent you, but I actually have video of the thing appearing. So it kind of scrolls in like some kind of weird effect. It kind of tiles in. I've got it somewhere. I'll send it to you at some point. But it's pretty cool.
Thanks.
It was pretty cool to see. And it was great for Neptune too. So not only have you, let's just take that down for a second. Not only do you take photos, and we're going to go through these a little quick because we're out of time, but you now have become Mr. Theatre. That's 2B Theaters.
2B Theaters, Unconscious in the Sistine Chapel. The very first time that I worked with 2B Theater. Super grateful to get to work with them.
At the Halifax Library, and that's an amazing shot of an amazing show in an amazing setting with so much.
Yeah, that's literally the Paul Regan Hall in the Halifax Library.
Yeah, and then
Sarah
English. How'd she get in here?
That's love Sarah English. Shooting camp was it was fantastically. It's a beautiful story. It brought me to tears. That's definitely a show that I cried while I was photographing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful to capture beautiful moments like that.
I mean, the thing is, if I think
opera, getting to work with lately in the past few years now, the Opera Nova Scotia and the Halifax Summer Opera Festival, I now photograph for.
you've captured so many moments for every show. I think your computer must be jam packed. There's Mary Collins Chisholm.
Yes, some low flutes. Yeah, that's such a beautiful show.
That was a good
theater.
That was a really good show.
The Children. Yes, this was another show where I was doing my immersion photography, and Martha and Maureen, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. Were so gracious in letting me be in their space to take these photos of them.
Yeah. There's Sarah Richardson.
Yes, Sarah Richardson, you make me laugh every friggin' time that you are on stage. You fully are every character, and I just absolutely lose it every time. I love giant killer sharks so much that I bought a giant shark onesie. Awesome. And Nick Cox, Terra Novella Theater. Love Nick when he plays a bad guy. He's just so good at it. This right here actually is Blazing Worlds with Villains Theater. Matt Downey, when I came into the Scotiabank Studio Theater at Neptune, Matt Downey looked over, saw I was coming in, and gave me the best compliment, because as soon as Matt saw me, he went, "Yes!"
Oh, because they had...
Yeah. Because Matt was like, "I worked so hard on the lighting for this, and I know that you're going to capture it." Yeah.
You know what? That's going to be the title of your memoir, something about capturing light. I've seen so many of your photos of shows that I've worked on where you actually capture the light from its source all the way down to its target, and actually it just enhances the journey of that light onto its subject, makes it feel like it's coming from some other power. I'm sounding a little hokey right now.
And again, it's like telling a story enough to make you want so badly to know what the story is, what's going on here. I need to buy a ticket. Another amazing one, production, Macbeth. I'm not inside of a theater right now, so I can say that word.
Yeah. This is Ken. I produced this production with Off the Leash, which is the name of the show, but it used to be the name of, well, it still is the name of my producing company. And Ken pitched doing this production, and that's The Three Witches in Macca's, and the amazing lighting designer Andrea and Ken
reflecting off of the mirror, and just so well done.
Yeah, and Andrea came up with this thing with the light into the mirror, and it light around the audience, and I was like, you don't need to see me in this play at all. Let's just look at them.
Yeah.
Which was, now this I love.
Oh. So Lara, I love you, because Lara, you give me such good emote to the camera so fantastically, and so does Nick Cox. And I absolutely loved photographing Zomblet and for them. It's fantastic. Here we go.
Yeah, that's the whole crew.
Yeah, the poster shot.
Need from actors. I mean, like this photo of Lara, for example, that's intense, but it makes for a great photo.
Yeah.
And it's the same with, look at
that. Yeah, exactly.
She's into that camera. She's eating it. So that's what you hope for, I'm assuming. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, here we are with the Villains Theater Fox. This was another immersion photography style. And I honestly believe that Lara just sees me and just knows how to play it up for my camera, and I love them dearly for it, because they've given me some of the best production photos. Yeah.
And I just want to go back. I just want to say Suzanne Hudson did the the lighting for Macbeth. I'm not in the theater, I can say it. For this production, Suzanne Hudson, who is based out in Wolfville. She's a great lighting designer, and I've seen her work a few times. And when I actually worked with her on this, I was like, I need more of her in my life. We are blessed with some amazing lighting designers in our town, and I think they're part of your team, really.
Yeah, well, honestly, I absolutely love it when I come in to do a dress rehearsal and the lighting designer for that specific production will come up to me and say, okay, so this is going to happen this moment, this is going to happen this moment. And then they go up to the board and they show me like, okay, this is what this lighting key is going to look like. So then I know ahead of time and I'm prepared for it and I can switch my camera settings to like capture the moment perfectly.
Yeah. We are so out of time. I do just want to there's an amazing
Francine, yes,
in Karen Bassett's play Heroine.
Very first theater production show that I photographed.
Right, and then sometimes people will take the photos that you do. This is done by another theater. I came across it on the internet. I actually don't know which theater did this, so I stole it off the internet. It was there for promotional purposes, so I don't mind. But they took your photos and merged them into a montage, which I thought
love it.
I mean,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Look, I want to thank you for being here, but before I thank you for being here, I do want to give a shout out to Support for Culture, who are a proud supporter of this project, and I've just heard that they are going to come on board with us and continue to support us for another month as we do this show, which is
nice,
awesome. So thank you to them. You work for them a bit as well, don't you?
Yes, Support for Culture, Support for Sports, Support for Communities. They're all clients of mine. Shout out to Kelly Manning, shout out to Jacqueline Close, and shout out to Peter Addison. Absolutely loved working for you for the past 4 years. When this whole COVID situations is over, I can't wait till we go on the road again and have fun adventures like we always do.
Let's just take a look at this. You're like a rock star. You are a rock star.
You're going to make me cry now. Yeah, I absolutely love working for Halifax Pride. Shout out to Adam Reed for believing in me and letting me work for Halifax Pride. Oh, boy.
Look, the thing is, Stu, you work for so many people, and I have not heard a single person ever complain or say a negative thing about you. You do great work. The product is stunning. I've said this to you so many times. And you deliver, and you work hard, and you believe in what you do. So we appreciate you. And I wanted tonight to have a show with just one guest and have it as you, so we could just honor you and thank you for your contribution to the Nova Scotia arts community. Okay, so thank you. I wish I could pass you a little something. Even you know what? I'm just going to say cheers with what's left of my drink.
Oh yeah,
Here we go.
Yeah. Yes, shout out to Chainyard for the cider.
And you're great with product placement. Chainyard, I like Chainyard too. Just so you know, it's been fantastic to take this little trip through your work. We could have probably talked for a lot more time, but as it is, it's now going on record as the longest episode of Off the Leash since the beginning of the pandemic, and I've thoroughly enjoyed connecting with you again tonight. I can't wait to see you in the building, and when it is safe to do so, we will all give you a gigantic hug. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love you, Neptune Theatre. I love you, the greater theater community. I love you, Halifax. And oh boy, and yeah, I love what I get to do, and I love that I get to share with these beautiful moments with people.
Okay, well, you keep doing it. You keep being you, because you are very important in our lives. So thank you for capturing all of these amazing shots and just being part of our team at Neptune and beyond. I'm sure that it echoes right across the theater community. Folks, I can now tell you who the guests are for next week's show. So Stu, hang in there for a second while I just wrap this up. It's a fun week next week. I'm actually going to take a week off after next week, and maybe we'll do some reruns. We haven't discussed how we're going to handle that. But in the meantime, we have another week of shows. On Tuesday, bringing in a whole bunch of the Neptune team, including Allison from the box office, whose face is currently covered by a logo, which I will, there we go. I'll take that off. We're going to catch up with all my colleagues at Neptune to work out and talk about what's been going on, what is going on, and what our plans are and what our hopes are. So Tuesday night, we'll be updating you on the news from Neptune. Wednesday, finally, the stage managers strike back. They get to tell all. We have we have many more stage managers that come through Neptune, but these 5 have been around a lot in recent years, and they are going to spill the beans on what it's like behind the scenes. Thursday, I cannot wait for. Thursday, we are gathering together a collection of bells from Beauty and the Beast. Vanessa Sears, Julie Martell, Ellen Denny, and Karen Coughlin-Milo have all played the role. Some of them more than once. And also, I can let you know that we are also being joined through the evening by about a dozen other bells.
Amazing.
We'll be sending messages, and I can't wait for that night to visit that show and visit that character. That's the link. And then on Friday night, a gorgeous creative family, friends of Neptune, friend of our community, Shelley Thompson, Ed Thomason, and T. Thomason, a creative family. They are currently all quarantining together. But I think they're going to be on more than one computer. So we'll link up with them as well. Thanks for being here tonight, Stu. Take care. Stick around exactly where you are. Don't go anywhere so we can say goodbye after the show. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week. Bye.